Alex Answer here. It is Saturday, October 30th, 2016. And I'm sitting here in the new video production studio off the grid in Southwest Colorado, reflecting on how long it took to get to this point from setting out the intention to go off grid back in 2008 and not leaving Portland the first time until 2011. And so I'm going to share some of my personal stories in brief, mostly to give inspiration to those that are also on a similar path. I want to give people good advice based on the things that I've learned and the mistakes that I've made, some of the people that I've encountered off the grid and in the grid. And so, there's different levels of experience that you're going to get from different people. And no two humans have had the exact same experience. And so it's important that when we are able to overcome our own tribulation, personal life crises, for example, a home-free living, for example, involuntary. Now, there's actually a reason why I left Portland, though, the first time in 2011. And my traveling didn't start right away. For those of you that have been watching for a number of years or heard a little bit of my story, several years after being laid off from a restaurant that I was somewhat dependent on, a place called Ruth Chris Steakhouse, and it helped line my pockets for enough years to continue to pay rent on something that I'll never own, playing my part in the rat race while focusing on Outside the Box TV, and for a while Outside the Box radio, that at one point was daily when I had the energy and passion to do something like that on a daily basis, live. Not so much the case anymore. But I look back at that period of getting a lot of things done, but knowing inside my own consciousness that it would be wise to not become too attached to a number of things, for example. The idea of finding enlightenment within the city that I was born, or certain things happening within the city that I was born, or fill in the blank here. Helping Portland survive the collapse. Oh, brother, tell me another one. I mean, you want to talk about a pipe dream? I'll tell you a pipe dream, because I lived it. But I felt ultimately that my job was to deliver a warning, as well as shine the light on certain spiritual truths that I think are overlooked in today's society. So I knew when it was time to go, that it was time to walk forward into the future without fear. And I remember even posting on Facebook and also commenting on my videos and on my show, my last show, Outside the Box TV, which was actually on 9/11/11. And I commented on my faith in the Creator to keep me safe on that upcoming trip to Dallas, Texas. And a lot of people are going, Alex, why Dallas, Texas, of all places? And then I would say, it's simple. There's someone with a financial means in Dallas who presented himself to be someone that wanted to create a network, an alternative media network, featuring various voices in the independent media. However, it became clear after a short amount of time, his whole thing was multi-level marketing and creating some sort of a get-rich-quick scheme, which I did not partake in. And the project did not take off. But I feel like the Creator and my angels were actually working through that man, working through Michael, to open up a new door of possibility. Because it was 1 year later that I found Costilla County, and I will recount the story of finding this magical place. The land before time, as I used to refer to it. Yes, there's been some controversy with the off-grid issues, the war on off-the-grid living there now. I don't recommend people invest money in Costilla County, per se, but there's a certain amount of beauty in an area where you go somewhere and there are very few people around. And where you can live in a sense of freedom And while that's harder today in Costilla County, it wasn't in late 2012. I wasn't going up to the mountain because of December 21st, 2012. It just happened to happen at that part on the timeline. I just wanted to go off-grid. Now, there's various levels of the off-grid, connecting with nature, going out in rural areas, non-urban areas. And a big part of it really is psychological. That's the first step that people need to deal with, or address, face, embrace. Stepping back from society, stepping back from the internet. I didn't have internet at that time when I went to Costilla County. And I found the county after praying sincerely for a place of rest. Very specific, a place of rest. I just got done living in Dallas, Texas. That place threw off my energy. Shortly, months before living in Costilla County, I had an apartment somewhere around the West Village portion of Dallas. I never really talked about the archons before Dallas. I talked about the supernatural. I talked about this battle of light and dark. But it was just done in a general rant, going in different directions and talking about mind control from the unseen realms. But it was in Dallas that my understanding of archons expanded because of the society that I was living in and witnessing. Very different than Portland. But it didn't make me miss Portland. People were saying, I bet you miss Portland now. You're in Dallas, Texas. I'm exploring still. And there were a number of adventures that I had in Dallas, despite the fact that it wasn't a great work experience, but met some great people in the Ron Paul movement. And at that time, because we were on the same page and there was a sense of momentum, there was a sense of community amongst activists that I have not seen or experienced since that time. And the prior experience with feeling connected with people and that people understood the things that I was saying. We have to go back to Portland during the Bush years with the anti-war left before they went to sleep. When it was okay to criticize the never-ending endless war. Endless war. In this war. The bumper sticker. Don't really see those anymore. So again, those last years of living in Portland, it was very difficult to see society shift and then face that truth. That these things are cyclical, I believe. Periods of awakening and going back to sleep. There are periods where the energy seems to be thriving in certain major metropolitan areas. And there's other periods where it seems to be in a state of decay. Cyclical. And the same could be said about a number of off-grid areas. So there were so many roads that I've traveled that led to this particular place. And like the Chinese parable, good luck, bad luck, sometimes you don't know if something is good or bad until a period of time passes, reflection takes in, and we're able to see more clearly whether it was a positive or a negative experience. So it was a very positive experience to see my prayers answered. First getting out of Portland the first time and ending up in Dallas. It was almost like another year of purgatory in the belly of the beast. And someone on social media, one tip, that's the only way I found out about Costilla County, one particular tip, and he said, well, you can go down and maybe stay or visit with this particular person or find a place to stay. And I had never done anything like that anywhere at any time. And I did it at the age of 32, moving into the age of 33. Something about being 33 and being in the desert. Not for 40 days or 40 nights, but a total of 9 months. And all that I dealt with in that tribulation was in the county. It was a recurring issue that many of us deal with in our lives. And it's the sociopathic individuals that we sometimes come across that get close to us. And when it's an off-grid situation and you find yourself targeted because you're viewed as a bum because you don't own anything material, you're just a biological human visiting only one of the most beautiful places on earth, praying to the Rio Grande River. As my prayers were answered to get there, the prayer returned at the river. Father, Mother, Creator, please protect me. I have faith in you. As I have faith in you to get me out of Portland, I was safe in Dallas. People say, you better watch your back. Well, I didn't go out drinking the bad parts of town more than a few times. Just saw a little bit that kind of, whoa, scared straight. Got it, Dallas. Don't worry, Archons. I won't be hanging around here longer than destiny dictates. But then the Costilla County thing, just like there are some people that go and they do a sweat bath, it was the cold. In this case. And there wasn't a, oh God, please don't let me die. Oh God, please don't let me die. There was none of that. It was, I'm cold. I'm going to get through this. Move around. Oh, let's get the wood stove started. Let's stand on the wood stove. Hell, my computer that I had at that time, my old Mac, I would actually heat it up on the wood stove. I would do YouTube videos, and I had a stalker neighbor obsess on all of the videos that I did, especially stuff regarding the Archons, and would tell the whole off-grid community, this guy's crazy. I mean, he's straight up beyond cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He's Alex Ansary, and he's here. What are we going to do about it? Well, there really wasn't anything that he was able to do about it, but he caused interference. And at that time, I was obviously not the shape that I am now. Monetarily, financially, although I don't make a lot of money, but I make enough doing what I do online to survive. For example, snow's probably going to be blowing in here in about a week, 2, something to that effect. Before long, the snow was going to stick, and I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here throughout the entirety of the winter. Actually, a water filter just came in. And maybe I'll demonstrate how this works later on. So maybe filter out the snow. You know, make sure it's clean. Put in something like this. And I also have some olive leaf extract, which I will use for disinfecting. To know where I came from, and to know where I'm going and where I am and what I've already achieved, is a very good feeling after so many years of challenge. Now, I knew that experience in Costilla County was meant to come to an end when fall of 2013 rolled around. And I felt the energies also shifting in the desert. And this is before people were getting kicked off their property, before that started. But it was around the same time period, 2013, that they rewrote their land use code. So I was gifted with raw freedom. All I had to do was just survive. Basically camping out in the desert, but using a yurt. And the fact of the matter is, there are many days in which I survived without firewood. With only a Mr. Buddy heater and a yurt that wasn't even insulated. This shed is insulated. So I can get by with the Mr. Buddy heater. I don't even have a wood stove installed yet. Don't know exactly when that's going to take place. I'm not really worried about it. But it has been a mad dash scramble to finish line as we approach winter, replacing a golf cart battery. So I have more power to come to you, as well as upload at night. I have satellite internet. I was able to afford insulation and build a loft up above so I can finally separate my workspace from the space in which I sleep, and I only sleep. And there's something about that, having a place where you only sleep in that bed, and over here you do your work. And a lot of my life has been mished together. Even when I rented rooms in Portland for many, many years, over a decade really, I have my desk and I have my bed. See, the complicated thing about doing a show or talking about these things is people can hear you in the approximate vicinity. And it's not necessarily the content that irks them. It's the fact that I think that what I have to say is worthy of recording and sharing with you. In an ego-driven world, in a sociopathic world, in a world in many cases that is devoid of spiritual thought, spiritual teachings, unity, love, true compassion. People operating outside the illusions of separation. In a perfect world, perhaps there would be a collective shift in consciousness. But I think that we're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to evolve. And one of the primary ways that I choose to do that is through this video series, through my website, through the articles that I write, through the books that I may write later on in life. And I appreciate the request for me to get more active writing things. But this is where we're going to start with this particular video as I embark on this new chapter ahead. And as I ask the Creator for the protection to continue moving forward. I remember saying in 2013 at a sweat lodge, people were throwing out their prayers to the Creator. I asked at that time for everything that I needed to reach the people with the truth. It was very, and the supposed shamans, they're like, we just don't understand. You do videos? I just don't. A lot of people are understanding that this is where technology is gone, to where we're sharing knowledge with each other through videos. It's totally natural. It's sharing. It's a time-old tradition. It's filling a void that a lot of us don't have in our lives. I don't have one physical friend or person that supports what I do on my YouTube channel in my life. Yes, some of you on Facebook that may be watching that I've met in the past that I could consider friends, and some of you are very good people. Some of you put out some positive energy. And when I talk about things that used to get me attacked years ago, I decided to keep pushing forward, keep discussing various outside-the-box topics, and now I feel a tide is turning. There are more of you now, for the first time in a long time, that support what I'm doing than those that are spending their time hating or trolling on me. The few things that I do have, it's the same person with multiple accounts. But then I see the overwhelming support and the comments. And you're indicating to me that you understand some of what I'm saying or all of what I'm saying. And that is feedback that helps me keep going, because I'm not doing this for money. I'm using all of my money and resources to make sure I have a place to bring this message to you. And I think many of you see that now. Everything has gone into this. Putting out this free content, creating a place for myself and a space for myself to where I can live my truth as a way of life. And so I do ask for protection from the cosmos, from the Creator, and I acknowledge the things that I have. I'm writing a list of things that I want to manifest or that I want to get before winter. Things like a snow shovel. It's not so much manifesting, it's I'm looking for this, and you can magnetically create a situation where you walk in that thrift store and there it is for $5. And it may take a few months. So it's not necessarily like, woo, manifest. It's, okay, these are the things that I'm looking at. And these are the topics that I'm discussing. And these are the things that I'm grateful for. I think about the shed and getting a job day one, July 3rd, 2016, here in town as a food runner. Not a very good job. Stuck with it, even worked 8 days straight. I just kept thinking about the tiny house. It's really much smaller than a tiny house. It's a 10 by 12 shed now with an 8 by 10 loft. 200 square feet. Just keep focusing on the studio. Just keep focusing on the studio. Sacrifice. And I'm still thinking about that for paying off this land before 4 years. I'm on a 4-year payment plan. Hell, I'd love to pay this off in 1. Does it mean that I'll be able to do it? No, but I'm going to strive for that now, seeing what I've already generated, what I've already created, what I've already overcome. Going back real brief to Costilla County, there were some situations where I met some very psychotic individuals, and there were some situations where there was straight up divine intervention to where my alternator belt breaks off my Honda at the time, blue 90 4-door Honda Accord, front wheel drive. And this is an area where you coyotes everywhere. And I don't have a regular flashlight. I have like a crank piece of crap one. You know, somebody took pity on me because, you know, I'm living off a few hundred at a time, living in a yurt out of a car, you know, with a Mr. Big heater and sleeping bags and clothing, you know, but I'm not quite, I mean, instead of people actually giving me a medal, it was assumed that I was crazy for attempting to take on the winter. And after I emerged from the winter with full survival and making videos the whole time, it was like, oh, this is just crazy. We don't understand what he's saying. You don't like Obama? You're talking about Archons? You want an off-grid community? Hell no! You won't go making friends around these parts as long as we have influence in this community. But I didn't let it get me down. It was like some sort of, it was like a test. It was like a test of faith, a test of perseverance, a test of inner strength. Sometimes I encounter some of the same things here that I experienced there, but on a much smaller level. And I intend to do whatever I need to do to keep things as drama-free as possible. And I can feel times where I'm on the cusp of something amazing, or I've accomplished something amazing in my own life. That is the biggest moment in my life. That is now. One of the biggest moments in my life. Of course, there are others. But this takes the cake. And I think there is little argument against this argument. That this, at the age of 36 years old, 3 years after my first off-grid experience in Costilla County, although I've done a lot of camping, you know, and staying in a cabin in the woods in Estacada, but it had power, but a real off-grid, getting really far from a dense population center. Hundreds of thousands of miles at least. And feeling that sense of peace from the beauty in the silence. So the car, I'm walking down a desert road at night, coyotes here and there, and I'm walking without fear of being mauled. And I've met people that have been attacked by coyotes. And I've actually, one guy told me that he went hitchhiking to Arkansas to get his truck, and he stabbed these coyotes that advanced towards him. He literally walked. He hitchhiked a little bit, but he walked many miles from Costilla County back to his home in Arkansas. Most of the way out of here, out of there, was walking. Until he crossed the state line and finally got a ride. I think he said took him all the way to Oklahoma. Walked all the way to Oklahoma from Costilla County. Anyways, I walked on a neighbor's property who I did not know to ask for help to get to a friend's place so I can at least sleep on the floor, as opposed to sleeping in the cold, in the winter, in my vehicle without a heater, because all that stuff was back at the yurt. And I'm 10 miles away from the yurt. You know, that could be a situation where I was mauled by someone's dog going on their property. But he actually took me. He was actually a guy that did dish installations. There was another divine intervention when I was in Costilla County. And I was guest housing, or house sitting. And I'm trying to remember the name of the actual town. But it's in New Mexico, outside of Costilla County. But not as far as south as Taos. Close to Garcia, actually. Now, I knew my brakes were bad. I didn't know that the brakes were so bad that once I started descending down the hill, that the thing would just give way. And I would be flying down a road to a potential sudden death scenario. Prayed angels, I need your help now. And I grabbed the steering wheel on the right side with both hands and pulled. And shot myself into the ditch. Blew out 2 tires. Now, oh, damn. What the hell am I going to do now? I'm in the middle of Chumbuck nowhere. Alamosa's at least an hour away. Taos is 50 miles to the south. Less than 1 minute later, an Hispanic man is driving up in his vehicle and takes me to a shop where we repair the tires. I had $19 in my pocket 17 to 19. And I told him that ahead of time, and he helped me anyways. I look back at things like that. And also how I was really protected from harm when I went back to Portland and was living in my teardrop camper. Yes, somebody broke in my vehicle one time and stole something, nothing really significant. I mean, that's happened to a lot of us. But specific targeting, there's Alex answering his vehicle. Let's surround him. Let's go for the kill. Look how vulnerable he is now. Now would be the time, right? You would think, when someone's, I don't want to say at their bottom, but struggling under very harsh conditions. And then again, what they like to do is keep people in really harsh conditions if they can, so they don't become a threat. A threat to them. If someone's worried about their meals, worried about survival, how can they keep going? But if you go back on my YouTube channel, you see me doing videos in my truck before I even got the teardrop camper. Waking up, day 3 in my truck. What the hell is going on? Because what happened was I left Costilla County in fall of 2013. I'm going to share mostly about the return to Portland and spare you the details about in between. Stayed with a strange woman for a number of months, and it was a scared straight situation. Again, some people want to be your friend because there's some deep-seated psychological issues that they want you to heal. And it's like, I kept coming across different versions of this, and then visited a friend in Kansas City, and that was cool for a little bit, but it wasn't right to stay with Jeff and his girlfriend long term. Wasn't enough space for me. And it's fair, one could say, or it's just how it is. But a lot of women, a lot of the females that have been dating the men that I visited have been a little bit resentful that I was their friend or a man of influence. And I'm sure it had to do more than just a little bit, quite a bit really, with the actual things that I talk about on my YouTube channel. Regarding relationships, regarding society, regarding value systems, regarding what's important. It rubs certain people the wrong way, especially significant others of those that have a affinity for myself. And so as a general rule of thumb, I try to avoid those situations. Unless I'm shown that there is empathy, understanding, and compassion from both. A lot of men are somewhat oblivious to my feelings regarding that, because they're with the woman, so they're experiencing, but they're not realizing what it's like to be on my end, where the person's clearly doing a hiss. Whether it's their inability or will for ignorance, if you will. I'm not here to blame, but know that it's more important for me, and that was a big wake-up call. That was a big wake-up call from that moment on. That's it. No more traveling around America and visiting people I don't know. It's not that I did a lot of that, and it's not that it all went bad. It's that, okay, I've had a little bit of experience. I certainly don't like this feeling of being dependent on anyone. I need to realign with something, and if it means going back to Portland, Oregon, I'm going back to Portland, Oregon. And did that? I did. I remember turning on the soundtrack to Top Gun. Through the Fire. Through the fire, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, that's it. You're going back into the city of the wounded goddess. You're going to bring back your TV show. You have this new off-grid experience. And I created that solar flare presentation during that month of isolation of March to April. I took a period of that isolation period that I picked for myself off the grid in Costilla County, and I created at least 260 slides. It's not an ebook form, but you can find it at alexansary.tv, the Facebook page, and go through that in order, and then watch my 1-hour presentation. There's a lot more information I didn't get into. But I'll save that for a future work. But I think about, it was when I was in that space off the grid that I think that I created one of my most important investigative works of all time. Not the only. There are other things that I've done of value and merit. But this solar flare research of mine, it is a very spiritual thing. And there are a lot of dots to be connected as to how we're affected by these epochs and cycles. I also remember doing Outside the Box TV or radio on American Freedom Radio, also in Costilla County, traveling to different places with a $100 USB microphone attached to my Mac. And I even did a radio show with Max Egan in San Luis, of all places, in 2013. So anyway, that's why I went back to Portland. You know, there's a person that I know that doesn't see any value really in the video series that actually said, why would you go back to Portland? You know, and they're the same people that go, why would you waste any of your time talking to idiot sheeple? Screw them. You should only care about yourself, Alex. That's your problem. You're spending all this time talking about all this stuff. You just need to live in fear and be concerned with your own well-being. You know, get yourself a nice girl, become a sex addict, become an alcoholic. Dude, are you sure you don't want a shot? Dude, are you sure you don't want a shot? Yes, dude, I'm sure I don't want a shot. I don't drink hard alcohol. So, I went back to Portland and lived a different life than I did before in Portland. I brought back my TV show. And I slept in the back of my truck, and I found that the people that I knew before, you know, the housing crisis in Portland, the have and have-nots affected people. The have and have-not reality affected people psychologically so greatly. The vast amount of drug addicts that came to Portland and started filling up the streets affected people so greatly. The stereotypes that if someone's homeless and they're somewhat talented and they're actually like not in a vehicle or living in a vehicle and not in a home, there's something wrong with them, they're hurting other people, or they're a drug addict. This mind control affected people that I considered my friends. Even my family, like a surrogate father, a person that was like my father, more than my own father. Okay? A person that taught me how to hit. A person that at one point was somewhat of a mentor. And then later on I realized was more a person that lived a life that was, for his time, very exciting, but he was also a bullshit artist. He was also an energy vampire who created the cult of the A-Man. The cult of the A-Man. Worshipping the A-Man. And I saw we drifted apart years after I started doing the TV show, but coming back with nothing. Applying for a few jobs. IHOP, I think Salty's on Columbia River, and someone knew me from there, from the TV show past. And so I knew there was a reason why they called back after 3 interviews and said, in a weird tone, we've decided to hire within. So it hit me real hard in the gut. Boom! You're on your own, kid. I've had certain people try to come into my life, create a problem, where one particular individual, 8-digit PDX on YouTube, that did create a problem. He also helped me build a homemade teardrop camper. And I got more experience that some people that come to you as a fan or a self-proclaimed survivalist, some of them have some sort of unhealthy obsession with turning me into someone or something that is subservient to them. There's some sort of a satisfaction that some people actually get from putting other people below them or underneath them. But I would say, especially myself, to redirect my energy. And there's a male and a female way this is done. There's a way that men do it to me, and there's a way that some women will do it to me. Try to redirect my attention to them. being a, yo, you're my bro. You're the guy I can count on for these, you know, jobs on Craigslist, or you're whatever it is. How can I use you? Because your energy seems valuable, and it seems more valuable if I redirect it from your path to over here. What I learned from 8-Digit PDX, also known as Alex, was that it could seem really important for people in social situations to put you down about everything that you believe and understand to be truth, but they present themselves as someone that appreciates your years of hard work and dedication to the cause, only to find out that that was not actually the case. Some people actually show signs of a neediness to control other human beings, or men controlling men, women controlling men, men controlling women, humans controlling humans, men and women controlling women and men, women and men controlling men and women. Every which way you can dice it is taking place today. So I took that lesson from him, as well as in spirit maintain a sense of gratitude for the help with the homemade teardrop camper. And because of that bad energy that was left, I gave that teardrop camper away. I also gave my truck away, without even signing over the title, mind you. Whatever. I'm gone. Try not to commit any burglaries or robberies. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to fast forward here. In April of 2015, I'm planning to go back to Costilla County with my teardrop camper and the pickup truck. And I get insurance a few days prior to that. And what happens is, it was raining and I rear-end a woman in a vehicle. Like other minor incidents when I was much younger, very little damage to the other car. And then my car, like, all fucked up, like folded. The hood folded up. And I thought it was much worse at the moment. I'm scared, oh my God, what am I going to do? Cop was laughing at me. But he's also, you got to get that off or we're going to charge you to have that towed. Unless you get it towed. And I begged the guys across the street, help me please. Help me get this off the road. This is fucked. They're like, fuck. Shit, yeah, another person fucking on the, alright. And they help reluctantly. Within several days, a viewer of this channel made a contribution that went to the RV, which enabled me to get out of Portland. I'm trying to think of the exact date, but I'm thinking around April 14th to the 15th to the 16th in the year 2015. It almost seems as if something divine happened then with that accident. Again, good luck, bad luck. Because had I actually tried to take a truck that was having issues in the Portland area, how was I planning to pull the teardrop camper without blowing out my radiator or whatever? There was other minor mechanical issues that I was trying to fix, but I don't think it was completely fixed. Plus, of course, there's that additional strain on the truck pulling the teardrop camper, and then you have the weight behind it. You know, so if it's carrying all this stuff and you're going down a hill or even flat, you know, the road is slick from the oil after the rain like it was in Portland, another accident waiting to happen, or a bigger accident waiting to happen. Something that day on MLK. It was actually a few blocks from PCM where I spent years of sacrifice and time and energy speaking like I am now on Portland Community Media. But of course, the show is coming back. A lot of these little clips will be diced together and be made into a larger show featuring a lot of different commentary, a lot of different subjects. So Portland viewers are going to be seen outside the box TV in 2017. And that might also be the ideal use of the on-demand channel. Now that I have finally signed up with VHX, Outside the Box TV.vhx, or rather outsidethebox.vhx.tv. Outsidethebox.vhx.tv. And that is where I think it would be a very appropriate place to be bringing back the show and be placing the individual clips here on YouTube. But that divine intervention right there at that moment, blocks from PCM, I mean, it's almost too perfect. Very close to the geographic place where I was outputting all this truth, and something happens to force me to upgrade my transportation. Somebody was actually saying months before I actually got the RV that she had a vision of me in a camper. And there are also other things that she said. I see you being a wise man with a cabin in the woods at some point in your life. And actually I have another friend that sees me in another off-grid location, me basically growing beyond this one, which would be great. I think this is a great starter off-grid location. This is not the right place for an intentional community. It's a good place for me to get away from it all and really rebuild my life and launch this video series forward. And so I'm going to have a lot more work done in the next year. A lot more things accomplished. And hopefully, if all goes right, and I believe it will, the hard work that I'm going to put in this studio is going to assist me in getting to the next level in my evolution, in my off-grid journey. So that was a very powerful series of years since 2011. And again, my off-grid thoughts going back to 2008, and discussing things on Access TV going back to 2004, 2005. New World Order, economic collapse, police state, mind control. My 2005 article, Are Your Thoughts Your Own? Just coming out of the gate swinging, and then going through the social persecution, and then moving from place to place because the things I'm talking about are just too out there. Persevering, not giving up, not harming others, not harming myself, other than smoking once in a while. I'm going to nip that in the butt today and make sure that is not a part of my rest of the afternoon. This is what's important. Not becoming complacent, going off grid and watching Netflix, and I can't even become that kind of a person if I tried. Oh yeah, let me go buy a video game system today. Which Call of Duty World at War, predictive programming, war with China, war with Russia, war with aliens, Halo, yes. Maybe that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I just haven't found the right video game for Alex Hansen. But concluding my little discussion on how all roads have led to this spot, the history is in the tape, the Costilla County playlist. By the fall of the year 2015, I had returned to Costilla County after spending time in other parts of Colorado, visiting an old friend, renting a place for a little bit in Trinidad, Colorado. Nice break from the road, cheap rent. Wasn't the right spot for me. That $650 ticket for driving someone else's car who left her insurance out of the car didn't help things either. Oh, $650 extortion, not even my friggin' car. I think this is a sign that I'm overdue to get back off the grid. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm just thinking about what $650 could have, done for me. All right, it's a sign. Get the fuck out. And I experienced weeks of bliss. The Archon podcast series was produced there. The actual launch of it. Another work of mine, project of mine that was done off-grid in Costilla County. So now we look at the solar flare presentation and the Archon podcast series. Believe it or not, there were some people that were a fan of that, and like, I don't understand why you're in Costilla County. I mean, you just, cities are wonderful. Yes, massive sewers where everybody's poop is contained in one giant container that is leaking into the Willamette River and poisoning the ocean, potentially. I don't know. Are we poisoning Fukushima? Is Fukushima poisoning us? I don't know. But how about I get away from the red zone? No pun intended. So going back to Costilla County, and it was a rude awakening. You had your time then. It's like higher self to me, to have your freedom. And now is the time to speak on behalf of these people and then be attacked viciously for it. Called a racist, called a homeless bum, called a person that's burying fecal matter in other people's forests. Of course, describing the whole county as theirs. Complete disrespect for the off-grid way of life. You're an animal. You're an animal. I don't know where you're from, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Lebanon, but you're here now, boy. And you can get yourself a toilet. Stop living like a damn third world Syrian immigrant. And man, all that love I had for that county. And then, of course, the community not sticking up for each other. Only when it was popular and revolving around Chloe and Hiram. There's like, one big party revolving around them. But other people were involved. Other people's stories weren't told. And people remained silent. So there came a time where it was clear. Alex, you ain't living in Costilla County. It don't have the water. It don't have the wood. You don't have the privacy. Somebody can see what you're doing miles away. Someone could snipe at you miles away. I mean, there's a little bit of strategic advantage. I guess you can see them coming for miles away, but anything coming to the air, I mean, it's just you're right there. And it's a government drone testing range. They fly C-130s that bomb Afghan villages over the San Luis Valley because they like it. Oh, it's like Afghanistan. And I dealt with it. I accepted it. Said, even though I'm against those things and what's going on, I will still make this a spiritual experience. There are certain properties where, it's 10 o'clock at night, and they're doing their rounds, and they'll be coming around Ute Mountain, they'll be coming around the Rio Grande River. Oh, look at that, the lights. Oh, pretty. Love the military. And off-girders will sit outside and go, oh, that is just awesome. I'm going to masturbate to that. Yeah, I like the military. Go kill them and destroy. Well, I like that. They're keeping us safe. Yeah, they fly here because it's like Afghanistan. I coexisted with that sick reality. And I came to understand why also I have little to no veteran friends. It's a lack of compassion for the victims of war. And that's the bottom line. Okay, it's not worrying about the poisons that were in your body, what you breathe. It's actually giving voice to people that you hurt. So I look at people like Hiram and others that, are brainwashed by the military-industrial complex and convinced that ISIS is an authentic terrorist institution. These people are fucked for life. So a lot of people come out to places like that with PTSD. And the last thing they want is truth or anyone sharing truth around them. It's just a Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump party. Never met any Hillary supporters, but I'm sure they're out there. They're just like this political mind control system. And we'll talk more about that in a future video. But it's done a lot of disruption to a lot of people. And when I found out, especially off-gridders, especially people in some of these backwater counties where they haven't started to educate themselves about certain things. Like the people of Town Louise. Oh, we're going to get downwind syndrome from your compost toilets. Who the f says that? Who the f believes that? But again, all this madness. It was like a mental asylum. It was like the whole county was undergoing a mental health crisis, and I was meant to witness that. Sure, I may have said that, well, they destroyed our dreams of living off the grid. Yeah, thank you, Cruz Soto. Thank you, Colleen Romero. Thank you, Espinoza. Thank you, Devin Pignon. because what you did for me is set me free, whether you knew that or not. And I found a place that is better for me. And the rest is history. I came up here, by the way, in spring of this year. It took months for the land to close. For weeks to months. I didn't even know whether they were going to accept the owner financing deal to begin with. It was suggested by the realtor. Remember, when you do that, you pay more than the person that pays outright. Just like anything else. But with my credit at a 500 something, oh yeah, baby, you better believe it. Did I default on my student loans? Mm-hmm. So, someone like me, with credit like mine, I believe I had angels working behind the scenes to help make this a reality. I'm not the only person that's ever gotten owner financing in this particular area, but it's not something that is commonly done. Not everyone will do it. Some people will do it. So we sat down at the title company. I don't know how many papers I signed, but I committed to this. And I jumped in with both feet. And like I said, I went back to work for a few months. It was a crappy job. It was a little humiliating. I was reminded of, even if you go off grid in these rural areas, some of the people that work in the service industrial complex are fucked up, and it's very difficult to even talk to them, let alone work with them. And it comes down to a respect issue and ability to control one's anger. And of course, intensive chain smoking. So this is really going to be an adventure for me. There's so many different videos that I'm going to be bringing up. And while a lot of people worry about certain things regarding the winter and the snow, how are you going to get your water? How are you going to get out? What are you going to eat? How are you going to heat? I look forward to demonstrating how I am living within my means on a lower than average income and budget. And those videos, like this video, I hope help those that are also in the same journey as mine. I would not discount the power of prayer. I would reconsider a lifestyle of only being concerned with yourself. Consider a life of helping others to the best of your ability. Even if other people call you an idiot and put down your information. Consider a lifestyle that revolves around sharing information and helping other people to the best of your ability. And I believe I've seen from my experience, it will revolve around. What goes around comes around, and that does count for positive things. But it may come on its own schedule, not yours or mine. Thank you for watching. This has been a Saturday afternoon video cast for October 30th, 2016. We'll see you in the next video.